Alright guys, today I'm going to show you how to take apart and refurbish, restore, clean up, whatever you want to call it, to a Nintendo 64. This is the Jungle Green edition. I got this one from D&D Pawn in Fort Smith, Arkansas. It's going to be for sale after we're done with it. If you're interested, I'll have the link below. They're going to have it probably on eBay. They do a lot of retro stuff. So if you get on eBay, favorite their store, you can check out all the new stuff. They put new things on every day. They have some pretty rare stuff. They've sold Snow Brothers on Nintendo, on the Nintendo Entertainment System. They've had a lot of PlayStation, Saturn, you name it. A lot of really rare stuff has gone through their store. But they gave me this one today to clean up and see if I can get it to be a little presentable. Somebody at some point took this reset button. I guess it got stuck and they decided to pry it apart. And we're going to see if we can, it's kind of working. We're going to see if we can clean up this, oh, there it popped out. We're going to see if we can clean this up a little bit and make it work a little bit smoother. So first thing you got to do is you got to take out your expansion port. A lot of people are going to be critical of this and think you need the little tool to pop it in and out. I popped 1,000 of these things out using just a screwdriver. All you got to do is put it in here, kind of give it a little nudge. Once you feel it pop loose, it's that simple, comes right out. Second thing you have to do is you have to take out your 6 screws, 3 back here, 3 up here. Looks like that one's missing one, so there's only going to be 5 screws in this one. Sorry for having my arm in the way there. Alright, once you've got those 5 screws out, just drop them out and sit them aside. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Sorry about the coughing, I'm a little under the weather. Once you do that, the top comes right off really easily. Wow, this one's pretty clean. We will probably just dust this off with a rag and be done with this. This part works, everything's good. Yeah, everything looks like it's good. We're just going to go ahead and take it out so we can clean the shell. I'll show you how to do all that real quick. Now, the bottom part comes apart with a few different screws. There's going to be 2 silver screws right back here that work for your audio signal and your power. They're both silver, so you can keep those separated, and you'll know how to put them back. Once you've got those out, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 screws. Looks like there should be 9 screws, but looks like there's one missing, so this one must have been opened at one point. Just take out all these outer line gold screws, and that will allow you to lift the motherboard completely out. Okay, something I do want to point out real quick. Back here on the back, right here next to your slot for your cartridge, there's going to be 2 longer screws. These screws are considerably longer than the others that hold the PCB, the motherboard, whatever you want to call it, in there. So you don't want to run these longer screws through one of these shorter holes. You'll pop out the bottom, or worse, you could, screw something up with your board. Now inside, there's 2 other screws that you have to take out. There's 2 little tiny screws right here next to your memory expansion port. Just take those out. Those are long, thin screws, so you can't mistake and put these back anywhere else. But you can make a mistake and forget to put them back in. I have done that and had to take these things completely back apart before. 1, 2. All right, that should pretty much be all the, well, I'm sorry, there's 2 more right there. Once you got those out, see if you can wiggle it free. If not, then you've got something else holding it in, like that one right there. And now we're home free. All right, just take this out, set it aside. Take your other screws and toss them over there with them. Take your metal shielding out. This is another piece we're going to go ahead and wash up. And inside here, there are two little metal pieces. You don't necessarily have to wash them. But what these do is they go right in these two little spots right here. And at the time, they were going to have a disk drive system come out for it, and these were going to be the way that you attached it. So let's move on. We'll throw those aside, and we just lost a piece. Okay. Now we're going to take these little pieces here, put them inside this to take into the kitchen and clean, and turn our attention to the top part. This part is really pretty easy to come apart. There's two screws right here on each side of your adapter. What I've learned about this thing is the only purpose it serves, it does help get your cartridge in correctly. Get your cartridge in correctly. Get your cartridge to fit correctly. And it also region locks the system. If you take this little piece and remove this piece right here and this piece right here, you can mod this to play Japanese Nintendo 64 games. Pretty cool. You can play a lot of the ones that weren't released over here. Can't really play the RPGs unless you know how to speak Japanese. Anyway, take these out, put them aside, and then just pop out the buttons that go on the top. All right, well, we've got this all ready to go throw in the sink. Let's do it. All right, guys, we're in the kitchen, and I've got a sink full of hot Dawn soapy water, and all you need to do is toss your pieces in. Remember what you put in. Little ones will go down the drain. And just kind of let this stuff soak. And looks like a piece of a knife in there. Look at that. How'd I get it in the camera? There's a tip of a knife in there, I guess, where somebody was trying to pry open the reset button there. So throw all these in, and they're all fairly clean on this thing, but I'm really picky, so I'm going to hit it pretty good. When I'm restoring my arcade machines, I use simple green, mean green, whichever. It all works well. Just soak it down pretty good. And give it a good hit. Alright guys, I believe that's everything that needs to be washed. We'll just let this sit here for a little bit and dry off, and as soon as it's dry, we will put it all back together. Okay guys, we've got the N64 all dried up. Everything is perfectly dry, and we need to address this reset button. It's been hacked up by somebody with a knife or something that whenever it got stuck, they attempted to pry it back out. So what I've got to do is figure out how to smooth this out, which I'm going to use an X-Acto knife to kind of smooth up the rough edges here. Then we're going to use a little bit of steel wool and hit that and see if we can get it to where it operates correctly. I don't know why people get bent out of shape whenever something like this happens and use rough tactics, because I mean, there's no call for that. This stuff can be easily cleaned up. I don't know if it didn't look like anything got spilled in here, so I don't know what was the whole issue with it not working correctly. See, that's really smooth already, and there's just a few little pieces that are poking up. Might be able to knock that down with some steel wool. And this side looks pretty rough. Let's see if we can scrape it back out. Our main goal is, one, we want it to look good, but two, we want it to function correctly. These jungle green N64s they're pretty cool. A lot of the transparency on them, I don't know why they did that. I mean, I guess it was the thing to do back then, but why do you want to see the guts of a system? I mean, they didn't even modify the insides. They didn't put any kind of LEDs or anything in there. I guess you could do that on your own afterwards, but man, that's smooth now. That's perfect, perfectly smooth. Hopefully this will allow that button to work its way up and down without any issue. There's a little spot that feels a little bit. All right. Okay, and we'll move on here to the button itself, which it got pretty hacked up as well. So we'll see what we can do with this. This is the part you're really going to see, so we're going to have to be careful with it. Can you see that okay? Let's get right in here. And we drop it. Let's see how just rubbing it down with this works. And I'm not using a very rough steel wool. This is a 4/0. It's pretty fine, but hey, it is working pretty well here. Let's see if we can round out this edge a little bit. Once they've hacked it up, I mean, it's you just kind of got to do what you got to do to make it work and look as good as you can get it, because this system can be saved, and that's the goal. Okay. Yeah, that feels pretty smooth. It doesn't look too hot, but it is what it is. Let's see how she works. Look, works great. Works perfect. All right, I'm gonna clean up a little bit here, and we'll get back to putting this thing back together. Okay guys, the first thing I want to do before we go ahead and put this together is, since we had to do some alterations to the top, is I want to hit it with a little bit of furniture polish. It's Favor, it's the generic Pledge. Just hit it with a light coat of this and wipe it down really well. Try to get it down in where you're going to have moving parts on your power button, your reset button. You don't have to worry about getting it down in there with your expansion pack. Once this is all wiped down, we will assemble it back the way it was, and then we will hit it with the Pledge one more time. Let's see here. First thing we want to do is address everything with the top. Take your buttons after you've wiped it all down and wipe up your button. Make sure it's ready to, make sure it goes back in correctly, in the correct way. When I say incorrectly, it sounds like you're saying it's wrong. I mean, it needs to go in the correct way. Just wipe down your reset button after we had to adjust it, make sure it's working well. Still works. All right, flip this sucker back over, and if you want, you can go ahead and wipe these down too. Your little door for your cartridge. Okay, grab the other door, it's right there in front of me. Wipe it down, and then take your basically your cart acceptor, whatever you want to call it, and this screwdriver is not working too well. Let's see if we can find back to the easy way. Now, when you use one of these, make sure you set it on number 1, because you don't want to over tighten this stuff. It's just plastic. If you over tighten it, it's going to tear it up pretty bad. You don't want to strip out any of the holes or anything like that. All right, the top is back on. We'll set that aside for a minute and turn our attention back to the bottom. There's a few things you don't want to forget to put in, because if you forget, you have to go back and put them in. Your little LED indicator plastic piece that goes in the front, it just drops right down in there. And if you forget to put it back in, you have to go back and do it all over again. And there's that. Make sure you put your 2 metal pieces in there, and grab your little RF shield from the bottom and put it back in place. Let's make sure we're doing this the right way. I've done these, I don't know how many of these, and there's always a chance of forgetting how you put something in or forgetting to put it back in. I've done it many times. These 2 little pieces right here, these little screws, they're pieces I have quite frequently forgot to put back in. Okay. Next thing you need to do is go all the way around your board and put your little pieces back in. Here's something we're about to forget to do. Don't forget to put that one in. All right, and remember, this one takes 2 of the little silver screws, which we have right here, and then your 2 silver screws that go in over here. So we'll go ahead and put those in real fast. Alright. Now that they're all in, we'll continue to put in your screws for your board. Okay, and these two that go in here, you kind of need a magnetic tip screwdriver to get them back in easily. You can be done without it. I've done it, but that's why I like my magnetic tip driver. Here's that one. Tell you what, we'll go ahead and put these down all the way. Okay, just get it snug. You don't have to crank it down. If you do, you can crack the plastic. This stuff is actually about 20 years old, so things start to get a little brittle at 20. Okay, got this side in, and we got one here, and I'm not quite sure, but it looks like I might be missing one. Let me double check around here and see if we can find it. Bet it's underneath this towel. There you are. All right, now remember in the front we were missing one up here, so we'll just put the one back. I used to do this enough that I had some spare parts from broken systems, and I would go ahead and use those, but I don't have that anymore. That'll do it for that. All right, the next thing we need to do, flip this over, go ahead and put this piece back in, and take our top and put it back on. Okay, everything feels okay there. Put your feet back on. I forgot to put those on too. Drop your screw in there, one there, and one on each corner. Give them kind of a shake to get them to drop into place. And switch out your security bit. All right, then put your expansion pack back in the front, put the top back on, and you are in business. I tell you what, we're going to go ahead and stop here with this. There's a lot of different ways you can clean these things. There's a method where you can wash the board if it needs it, if it's really bad. Say this has been in a house that's full of roaches or nasty bugs, and they've gotten inside and you really need to clean it up. You can get these wet, but we'll do that in another video. So guys, I appreciate it. I'll leave a link to all the tools that I used in the description below. I also do another channel on YouTube called the Review Syndicate. If you ever want to check it out, we review all different kinds of products, games, places, restaurants, anything we think that needs to be reviewed, we'll review it. The link will be in the description. Also, I've got a brother of mine who has a channel, Rico's Variety Show. He does all kinds of stuff. He likes to do a little bit of comedy. He does online modern gaming. He's not quite the retro guy that I am, but if you want to check out his channel, the description will be in the link will be in the description below. That's Rico's Variety Show on YouTube. He's also on Facebook and I believe Twitch and some others. So hit him up. And if you enjoyed this, I'll do some more. I've got just about every system you can think of. Make sure you like this video, leave a comment below, and subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you in the next one.